hope you all had a wonderfully terrific week. I'm happy to be back with you, sharing this time together. So the title of the blog this week is interesting. It's called Time and Eternity. So I'm going to start the blog with a quote, and here it is. The soul is created in a place between time and eternity. With its highest powers, it touches eternity. With its lower, time. Eckhart Tolle. So the concept of time as we know it during our physical incarnation seems absolutely real. We wake up at a certain time as the sun rises and go to sleep at a later time when it descends. We check the time and date on our cell phone, computer, or watch to make sure that we're not late for appointments or so that we don't miss important birthdays or anniversaries or holidays. And of course, every year, we celebrate the day we came into the physical realm and announce to the world that we are 1 year older. When someone tells us that time is an illusion, we'll most likely push back at that idea as we look in the mirror and see the physical changes in our face and body that has occurred over Earth years. Eckhart Tolle is a spiritual teacher who really makes us stop and ponder his messages and wisdom. He has said that his book, A New Earth, is not something that you're going to read and simply find it interesting. Within its covers, there's a underlying spiritual energy beyond his words that we either are ready for or not. We will naturally begin to awaken further and deeper if it's our time to do so. Regardless, it may sometimes take a while for us to fully understand and integrate the spiritual teachings he has presented. That integration takes place not on the outside. That takes place in our own inner temple with the assistance of our team of light. It is there we learn how to access our inner spiritual compass that will always guide us toward the truth. When I read his books a long time ago, I was stunned at the electrifying, energetic transformation that I could feel happening within me. I innately understood how to use my own inner mystic or contact my own inner mystic so that it could assist me in remembering spiritual truth or wisdom, the kind that Eckhart Tolle was trying to help us recover from our ethereal memory bank. The illusion of time is a spiritual truth as it is incessantly difficult to comprehend, and yet at the same time, it makes perfect sense when we perceive it from our soul's perspective. If we only use our mind to try to understand spiritual truths such as time, we will most likely be led down a path that may lead to confusion, and we may miss the mark completely. Why? I think it's because the human brain is programmed to logically interpret information from its limited and finite perspective. The soul, on the other hand, can take us on a journey into an infinite, vast, intricate, and endless space where anything is possible. Where is that space where we can actually understand how powerful and magnificent a being we are, and where we can fully own that power? Do we have to journey far away to a place beyond the clouds or over the rainbow, so to speak? Do we have to physically die to this world in order to catch glimpses of this heavenly place? The answers are quite simple. The spiritual world, heaven, nirvana, or whatever you call the afterlife, is not a place at all. It is pure consciousness. And we can find it by turning our attention inward and spending time in our soul's temple. I have had so many transcendent experiences in that sacred space as I enter deep meditation. I've been assisted there by my team of light in order to help me remember what I had forgotten when I made the transition from there to here. And of course, by that I mean from a state of pure consciousness and awareness to a human state, where we often have an ego, a human ego, volleying for position with our soul instead of working with it harmoniously. This sense of duality rather than unity can sometimes send us off track, and we may forget why we decided to make this journey in the first place. And our best spiritual teachers are our guides, and our soul and our team of light. And that is really the only way that we can truly understand illusionary time and eternity. This morning at around 4 a.m., I experienced a very deep and blissful state of meditation. It was wonderful. And then when my meditation ended, I was very floaty, I guess you would say. And I was pondering the above quote by Eckhart Tolle. And while doing so, this discourse transpired with my ethereal team, my spiritual team, regarding time and eternity. It may need to be read a few times to allow it to drift into our conscious mind and then fall deeper, rooting itself within our inner and energetic knowingness. I know I had to read it a few times, and I wrote it, but it was coming through me, but I wrote it, but I had to read it a few times to really get the profound messages that were coming through. So here it is. Quote, "The vibration and frequency of our soul's light always exists and will eternally exist in the world of spirit. Only a portion of our soul's vast and spiritual energy takes the journey to the earth plane. It is our birthright to infinitely have access to that world where only love exists. In that transcendent space of pure consciousness, time as we experience it on the earth plane does not exist. There is only one timeless, unending present moment. Within that limitless and infinite now resides the omnipotent and supernal mind of our Creator. That being of pure divine love holds within its beautiful heart the adoration, compassion, and passion for every soul that has ever been birthed from its celestial womb. He, she knows and loves each of us intimately, perfectly, and unconditionally. Here on the earth plane, however, we are bound by the parameters of linear time. We find it useful in terms of the biological form our soul must utilize to complete its mission here. As the physical body ages, we measure its slow deterioration through minutes, hours, weeks, months, and years. However, in truth, time truly is an illusion. Sometimes we may associate the appearance of physical youth with power and strength, in old age with loss of power and weakness. Now, while that might be true of the physical body, it is far from true of the soul. Our soul was born of love with immense power and strength that remains throughout our entire lifetime on earth. At any point during our mortal lives, we can reach into the realm of heaven and use our highest powers to touch and to experience eternity with all of its miraculous and sometimes unfathomable wisdom and truths. At other times, we must take the wisdom and guidance we receive from our heavenly home, and with our limited mortal power, illuminate and bless this world. We can consecrate the entire earth plane where illusionary time does exist. And we can consecrate it with abundant love and transcendent light. And we do not act alone, but in unity with all souls who are bound together by the one infinite light of our magnificent Creator. I would like to add just one more thing. When I write from my authentic immortal self, when I have, when I write the blogs, when I write the inspirational quotes on Facebook and Instagram, I've said this before, but I think in this situation it's important to reiterate. When I write from my authentic self, most every day, the thoughts, information, and wisdom for the most part come through me, not completely from me. Sometimes it's almost entirely spirit-directed, and other times it is a combination of me, the human soul, and spirit combined. The process is truly miraculous, and it awaits each of us, should we ask from our hearts and from our purest and most loving intentions. So this is kind of deep. I asked my husband, he said, yeah, that's pretty deep. So if anybody has any questions or has any thoughts while you were reading it, or you might, if you haven't read Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth, you might want to try to read that. But you have to also, meditation is really essential in order to get to that place. You can find truth outside of yourself, but you'll never fully grasp it and understand it unless we go within. Sometimes when I find something and I have questions, I'll go into a deep meditation and I'll start asking. Some people go into meditation with no thought. I find it very useful for me to say, what about this? I don't really understand this particular thing. And then I stay quiet and I listen to the information that's coming through. And I write it down because it's really important to keep a journal with you when you meditate. If you're trying to find out information or remember things about your own history as a soul, or what you're supposed to do when you came here, and what your challenges or adversities are here to teach you, lots of different things that you can find. And time and eternity is one of those things that was like, what? Of course there's time. And the soul says, but yeah, chord's sort of here, but not really. It goes even further than that when they say you can access, like I am 68 years old, I can actually access the energy of my younger self because everything happens in one present moment. Now, that's a lot to handle. And a lot of us will say, no way. And that's why I ask you to never listen to what someone else tells you it's true and just say, oh, she said so, so it's true. Go within, find your inner compass, direct it to the truth so that you will truly understand from your power, your own inner wisdom that exists within you. You will know. It will direct you to the right place. So, I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, today actually is Saturday. So for those of you who celebrate Easter, it's also Passover right now, I believe. So there's holidays going on and family gatherings, and I hope everyone has a wonderful time and a very, very blessed, holiday with your friends and family, celebrating our soul and our faith and our connection to love. So everybody have a great week forward, and namaste.